Welcome to My Life in Malvern. I'm Robin. Well, the idea of coming down to the woods here is this is a walk that I do along and around Fruitlands Common. I try to do it every day. It's to do with my health for all sorts of reasons, which I'm not going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about a car instead. So, let's get on with that. Car. Well, the car, as I shall now show you, I bought about a year ago. Okay, it's new to me, but it is not a new car. It's 13 years old. You'll see it is a Renault Zoe, and a Zoe is an electric Clio, essentially. So it's replacing the Clio that I had before, which was getting very old, with a brand new Clio. As you can see, it's bright blue colour, so it has earned the name Blue Peter. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying having it and enjoying driving it, and that's what I'm here to tell you about today. Now, when I bought the car about a year ago, I promised the then owner, Akira, that I would produce a video about it. And she had actually seen my Life in Malvern videos, so I said I'd do one especially for her, which is this one, which is all about the car, what I think of it, and of course why I bought it in the first place. Just over a year ago, I had an accident in the Renault Clio that I had. When I found out how much it was going to cost to repair, I knew I had to get a new car. So I looked around, and being a bit short of money, I tried to find the cheapest viable car I could actually find anywhere. I looked at quite a lot of different cars, but it wasn't until I started looking for an electric car that I found one that I really liked and could afford. Yes, it needed some work doing on it, because it's now 13 years old, and all cars of that age start to need some work to be done on them. So I did a quick search around, find out how much it was likely to cost to get it repaired, and yep, I could just about afford it. I went to see the car in Worcester, and I was immediately struck. Yeah, it's exactly what I want. So I purchased it, and I've been driving now for just over a year. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Yeah, I've had some problems. I've run out of charge once. Fortunately, I was being followed by a very nice Irishman in a Volvo estate with a tow hook, and he knew where the towing eye was on my car, and between us we'd got enough rope to do it, and he drove me to the charging point at Aldi, which was absolutely wonderful. I'd learnt my lesson. It taught me how the battery gauge goes down, and no, it's not linear, but it does work, and I haven't let it go down there again, I can assure you. I had realised that buying an electric car meant finding out a lot of things first. Things like, what's its range? How do you charge it? Where do you charge it? Those, I think, are the important things. Then, how much is insurance? How much is the road tax? Because road fund licence, I should say, because that had come in last year. were there any other costs that I needed to know about? So that was the first thing I had to find out. Unfortunately, my flat doesn't have charging, or any way I can put charging in. You need either to have a driveway or to be able to park on road and in easy reach of the building. I can do neither of those. Unfortunately, the driveway next to my flat is a general emergency access and must not be obstructed, and we have ambulances coming all the time. Unfortunately, this week, because it's still heat wave, it's still very hot, we're getting ambulances coming in 2-3 times a day even. So I clearly couldn't use that. I looked around, and there is charging at Aldi, which is a local supermarket. In fact, it's one that I go to occasionally, but it's very adjacent to the whole retail park at Malvern Link. So I make use of that. There's a nice coffee shop there as well. The charging this car takes is type 2. That means AC. It can actually take up to 22 kilowatts AC charging directly. The chargers at Aldi, they are providing me with up to, well, it says it's supposed to be 7 kilowatts, but usually it provides this car with 10. 10 kilowatts, you can work that out. That's a couple of hours to do a full charge. And usually it's less than that because I'm not usually doing anywhere near a full charge. Insurance, it was a little bit more than the previous car, but on the other hand, insurance had gone up in the last year. So what a surprise, and it's gone up again this year. I don't think it's got anything whatsoever to do with the car. Yes, there is road fund licence to pay, road tax, and it's about half the cost of a petrol car. All in all, I decided that it was actually worth doing, and the result is the car has passed to me. Its name, Blue Peter. It's blue, and a friend of mine decided that it ought to be Blue Peter. So thank you, Simona, the name stuck. About 2 years ago, I'd put out in a video that I was intending to have an EV as my next car. At that stage I had no idea how that was going to happen. I got a lot of feedback, not necessarily all good. People saying, oh, EVs are a waste of time. You've got to go hydrogen, or must go hybrid if you're going to go anywhere near an EV. Well, I'd got all my own research, my own knowledge, going right back to the 1960s when we'd had a project at school entitled The Year 2000. And I'd come to the conclusion already that petrol cars were noisy, dirty. I remember the hours that my father spent working on the Humber Hawks that he had. And I thought there must be an easier way of doing it. Well, yes, there is. Of course, all the negative arguments keep coming up. Oh, the batteries explode. They catch fire easily. You've got no range, it runs out, and that's it, it's dead. The battery doesn't last very long. 2-3 years, you've got to buy a new battery. Oh, well, you can't get it charged anywhere. If you haven't got charging at home, absolute waste of time. And all the others. I'm sure you've heard them. Okay, well, let's tackle some of those. This car's 13 years old. The battery is at around about 87-88% state of health. That means it's getting 88% of the original mileage per charge. It's done nearly 90,000 miles. It's not just been sitting in a backyard somewhere. It's been used. It's been looked after. Charging, well, yeah, that is an issue, but it's a type 2 charge. That's AC. And AC charging is available almost everywhere. So that's not really a problem. Okay, you're going to Wales, is going to be difficult. Wales well, they're working hard on it, to be fair. And I went to Llandudno Wells on my way to Cefnli, and there were 12 chargers. There weren't any in use, so I had my pick of which charger I wanted to use. And they gave 38 kilowatts for Type 2 charging. That means it charged my car very quickly. In other words, enough time for me to park the car, work out how to pay for it. That was harder. I don't mean the electricity, I mean pay for the parking. Then walked down to Tesco, discovered that they got toilets, they didn't have a coffee shop. Okay, so I got a soft drink and walked back to the car and found that it was actually already at 68% charged. And I sat down inside the car. Fortunately, you can put the air conditioning on without starting the engine. Cool down a bit, have the drink, have that part of the chocolate bar that hadn't completely melted, and disconnect very quickly and easily. Just press one button on the car, go and unplug, put the cable in the boot, and carry on with my journey to Cefnli. It was easy. It wasn't difficult. In fact, it was probably quicker than filling up with petrol. Now that's a thought. Is it inconvenient? No, not really. I still remember driving in the 1960s, or I remember my father driving in the 1960s. And we had to plan the routes, particularly at weekends and especially on a Sunday, working out where the open petrol stations were. And his car did a fantastic, I think it got 23, 24 miles to the gallon. And it had an 8-gallon tank. You can do the maths on that one, that's under a 200-mile range. But we did it. And the same with this car. Actually, it's easier. I don't spend time, at any time at all, working on the engine, and working on the gearbox, working on the exhaust pipe. My father did a lot of that. Because none of those exist. I don't have to buy oil for it. I will not have to buy a replacement exhaust pipe. There's no servicing really required other than making sure the tyres are okay, making sure the steering's okay, the suspension, all the things you're aware of when you're driving. They're the things that need to be serviced, but not on an annual basis. They need servicing when they need servicing. And since I had it fully serviced this time last year, it hasn't needed any work to be done on it at all. And I like that. So, do I like my car? Yes, I do. Thank you, Acura. And I hope you're enjoying your replacement electric car, which allows you to drive more easily to Birmingham and back. I know that's why you got it. So just thank you. And this, by the way, this is something completely off target. This is my thing. I watched a programme that David Attenborough did about wildlife programmes, and he often talks walking towards the camera, or walking in from the side, or he needs something to tell him where to stop, where he's going to be in the shot. And I do exactly the same thing, and this is my thing. It's sitting here on this piece of wood, this log, so I knew that when I had to come and get into frame, I had to sit down next to it. So it's useful. Yes, it's a tennis ball, and I'll probably use it for tennis at some stage, but it does that for now. Okay, time to move on. I've left what are probably the most important points for me about owning an EV to last. They come under the category of the environment and health. The environment, I don't like the idea that we're burning things all the time. Oil is a valuable resource. It can be used for so many things. We use it to make plastics that are lifesavers. For example, the stent that is used to give people life back after a serious heart attack. That's made of plastic. Without oil, couldn't do it. Hypodermic syringes, the tubes that are used, that is a fantastic material and we can't replicate it. I don't know about yet, but I don't know we ever will be able to. So burning it does seem to me to be a very grave waste of time. It's convenient as well. The camera I'm using is made of plastic. The microphone and the recorder I'm using, plastic. It's all around. Could we use less? Very probably, very probably. Should we be using plastic that can be recycled at the end of its life? Yeah, that would be a good idea. I think that would be an excellent idea. But those are things we can work on. We've got the technology. We can do it. The second point, health. When we're burning things, particularly hydrocarbons, oil, gas, of course diesel as well, it's polluting the air. Okay, we can go on about, is the CO2 a problem? And of course, if you're burning hydrogen, you are also getting byproducts as well, whatever people say. The CO2 could be a problem. The pollution itself, when I moved from Castle Morton to Williams Court, I moved from being out in the countryside, a bit like I am at the moment, which I love, into an area where air pools as it comes down the Malvern Hills. And the problem with that is there's a lot of cars around and diesel engines as well as petrol engines, and the air there, it's not good. And I've discovered my breathing is not good. I come up here and after about 10 minutes my breathing gets easier, it gets better. That's great. But I've got to go back home. And I know within a few minutes, and it is that quickly, that I'll start to feel the effects. I'll start to cough, start to mung up. And I thought, well, I'm someone who's, other than non-COVID, we'll forget about that for the time being, I'm basically healthy. If it's affecting me like that, then how's it affecting people who have got a lung condition? Maybe they haven't now, but they have an accident where they lose part of their lung or something like that. Suddenly, they're vulnerable. Asthma is on the rise. Okay, we can go into different pollutants and the causes for that and stress and everything else, which I'm not going to. But I want to do my part to try and reduce pollution. One car. No, that's not very much. When we had the Olympics in London, there was talk about the 1%. If you could improve your performance by just 1% in every area, wow, you've improved massively. Tesco, I'm afraid I'm going to mention them, they have a slogan, every little counts, every little helps. Get it right. Every little bit. One car, no difference. 1,000 cars, starting to make a difference. 10,000, 100,000. We are now talking about electric vehicles being sold in their millions. That is making a difference. It already is in places like London and in California, where there has been a push to have more electric vehicles. Air is cleaner. People's health is improving. In other words, let's be honest about it, fewer people are dying. That, to me, sounds like a very good idea. So, even if it cost me exactly the same to run an EV, even if I really did have to go further to find somewhere to charge it, even then, it would still be worth it. As it is, it's costing me, I think, around 65 to 70% of what it would cost me with a petrol car in fuel. But as I said, I have no servicing. So it's actually costing me quite a lot less. So, would I recommend to all my friends to get an EV? Yes, I would. Will you have problems using it? Maybe, but the range of new EVs is 300-400 miles. You can charge within 15-20 minutes, enough to go for another 100 miles or something like that. There are a lot of vehicles around. Expensive? They're coming to market now at either the same price or lower price than combustion engine vehicles. No, that argument doesn't hold. So, I'm going back to Blue Peter and drive, and I shall see you soon. Bye.